Alright, hi everyone, this is Chakrit, and today what I want to do, it's going to be a little different than what I normally do. I want to make a guide for BoKid Any Percent, which is the kind of one-player, two-controller variant of Hat in Time. You can play any category with BoKid, but what's really cool about this category, it opens a lot of routing and strat options up that you can't get in the solo version. There are some things that are very different from like the 1.0 typical solo any percent speedrun that most people run, most people are familiar with, but this is a newer category, only a handful of people have run it, and this is just me trying to get more info out there because I think a lot of people are unaware of what has transpired in the world of routing with BoKid. I think it's really sick. So the first thing to note, I am using two separate controllers. So I do have GameCube controller 2 and 1. I have two different GameCube controllers, and I also have my mouse and keyboard. It is possible to do runs of this with just one controller and a keyboard mouse. If you have a second controller, I'd recommend setting it up. I think it's the best way to play, especially if you're a primarily controller player. But runners like Doka and Hardcore Cheese, they also run this, and they are primarily keyboard mouse players, but proficiency with both control methods is important, as we'll see later. Me personally, I struggle with KBM because I can't do SDJs on KBM. It's not my preferred control method, but I only use it in spots where I need it. So there's that. The other thing to note is I am running on the DLC 3 patch. This is the third release version after DLC launched. So there's DLC launch, then DLC 2, then 3. There'll be a guide. I'll link to, I think Sonic Yellow made a guide on how to downpatch your game to this version. And there's the primary reason that we do that is that we can actually put Alpine in the route, because that version has a bug with Birdhouse in it. So yeah, I'm just gonna get started. This will just be like me running through like where stuff differs and where stuff is new, stuff like that. But yeah, this route is pretty sick. The first couple levels, BoKid isn't really used, so I'm just going to be kind of going through them. Pardon me for being bad at the game in the meantime, because I am kind of trying to explain and think of this commentary on the fly here. So a lot of this stuff, it is derived from regular 1.0 solo movement, especially these first couple levels. Unfortunately, just the way that the game plays, it's usually not a good idea to be trying and moving both characters at the same time. More strats might be developed down the line of like using keyboard mouse with one hand, or like one-handed and using controller one-handed. But it's kind of rough. And it's not terribly easy either. So yeah, for the most part, we're just going to run through the first few levels, just as we would in solo any percent. It does start to get interesting as soon as we get to like down with the Mafia. And because this is DLC, this is one of the newer DLC patches, we do have fast telescopes. You do have hold back to dive cancel, which kind of is annoying, but if you're familiar with modding patch, then this is a lot less foreign to you. For this route, what do we do in this route? I'm trying to remember now. Give me just one sec. So yeah, in this route, because we do gallery early, pawns don't actually matter. So the fastest route for She Came From Outer Space, yeah, this is what I was looking up, is if we needed to do the Volt or not. So we will be doing the DSJ yarn route, which I am bad at, LMAO. So yeah, this is the fastest way to do Chicane from Outer Space. But yeah, you can move heating up Mafia Town to later, basically. And I missed that yarn. Hell. Haven't done this movement in a hot minute. Yeah, you can still do Volt Route if you want. This route is only like a few seconds faster. We do lose this the menu storage that is there on 1.0 and on modding patch. Unfortunately, that doesn't exist here, so that's a 4-second time loss. But overall, this route is a lot better than. It's super lenient, basically, as far as pawns go. Like, I don't even really need to pick these up. The big spots we'll need pawns for, I mean, I think the only one that we really need is... Well, we need Mafia of Cooks, so we need 50, we need CTR, so we need another 50, that's 100, and then we need heating up. So that's 200 for the entire game, and all of those levels are done near the very end of the run. So, like, if you don't get 200 pawns in the course of, like, how many timepieces is that? Like 20 timepieces? Then there's something wrong. Especially after doing Alpine, because Alpine is in the middle of this route. Or near the end of this route, sorry. In like the second third. And there is something that you could do in Chicane from Outer Space. There is a yarn on the boat near the start. But that strat is a little bit awkward. But yeah, for this route, just the way that it works out is that we're going to be... Oh, Force a Habit from ATP, sorry. We're going to be doing very little of birds because we're doing a lot of Alpine instead. So that's probably going to be the biggest difference from this route to 1.0. Aside from, like, the minor bow kit stuff that you have to learn.
See if girl can handle this barrel.
See, there's nothing really here to do. Just keep it going.
Heads up, little punk.
This is all just standard 1.0 stuff. I'm not doing perfect movement. You can look at ILs, you can look at the 1.0 record for a lot of movement for this. I'll try on the levels that are different to really highlight, and I'll reset the level a couple times just to show you like what good movement will look like for those categories and for those levels. But yeah, having a good understanding of the game from a 1.0 solo standpoint is good, but like you could still learn this as your first category. I don't see any issue with that. And there are some things about this category, about Bokit 90%, that actually make it a little bit easier for some parts and a little bit harder for other parts. Just being able to manage the two different characters and stuff like that. See, down with the Mafia, like I said, this is where it starts getting interesting. So, the normal quick kill that you do in solo is a little bit different here. We can't do it solo, but we can do it with Bokit. Basically, when Mafia Boss... If you're standing behind Mafia Boss when he tries to start the Mafia Ball phase, he knocks you back into the middle of the stage. And on 1.0 in modding patch, he had collision, so you'd bump into him instead of actually going into the center of the stage. But on this patch, they removed his collisions, and I think that has to do with Death Wish. I think they were trying to make it so that people can cheese Death Wish. So he doesn't have collision with the character that he knocks back, but they did not... They kind of overlooked this with co-op, is that he does have collision with the character he doesn't knock back. Oh yeah, and I do pick up the keyboard and mouse here. So this is one of the... I'm going to talk about like fundamental routing ideas here. So there is a key skip coming up, so we're going to spawn Bokit behind this locked door. This is like one of the staples of BoKid routing, is that you can spawn BoKid. Oh, messed up the setup there a little bit. You can spawn BoKid behind very thin walls. What the heck? Oh, she's on the other controller. My mistake. Hang on. Which controller is this? Okay. Let me actually... I need to think something here, just so that she's on the correct place. I don't know why. Because this is P equals 4. Wait, hang on. Spawn co-op. Yeah, she's on this controller. Oh, but that's the left controller. What the hell? Spawning with this, yeah. This is so janky. Take 2 seconds to fix this. Alright, that puts that on the left controller, that puts this on the right controller. That's correct. There we go. Just so my input viewer is correct. Sorry about that. So yeah, you spawn BoKid behind a wall. The thing is that I switched to keyboard and mouse because menuing is just in general faster with keyboard and mouse. It's always faster. So like being able to do that instead of with controller, you'd have to go down 2 or 3 times and over 2 or 3 times. So it's a little bit, it's easier to do this with keyboard and mouse. So let's do this. I actually don't need those pawns in this route. So this is what the level would look like at full speed. Tap right a couple times. Basically, BoKid tries to spawn on Hat Kid's left or right side, depending on map orientation, like global coordinates of north, south, east, west. And so we're exploiting that because to Hat Kid's direct left, there actually is a safe space to spawn. But if Hat Kid was looking this way, she would spawn on Hat Kid's left still. And then there are some spots where you can't actually spawn BoKid next to you, or we'll get into that later. We exploit that in Subcon well, actually. So yeah, this section, you can just do that normally with BoKid, and both kids get teleported over here. And yeah, so I would, of course, Hat Kid is on KBM, and BoKid is on controller now. So if you have a controller plugged in, BoKid will always spawn on a controller. No, excuse me. If you have 2 controllers plugged in, BoKid will always spawn on a controller. Otherwise, she will spawn on the next available control mechanism. So if you only have 1 controller plugged in, and you enable co-op with the controller, BoKid will end up on the keyboard. And if you enable BoKid with the keyboard, BoKid will spawn on a controller. And once BoKid is active, you actually can't change control methods. So like I'm pressing buttons here on this controller, and I can't do anything with Hat Kid because Hat Kid is locked to the keyboard. So something to keep in mind when you're trying to make your setups and trying to practice these levels is understanding like which controllers you need to switch to. For me, I have this controller, this Hat Kid controller, sitting on my left thigh when I'm not using it, and the BoKid controller sitting on my right thigh, so I always know like which character is which. Of course, if you only got the 1 controller and you always enable BoKid with keyboard, BoKid will always be on the controller, but just being able to know which controller is which is important. So yeah, you can just do fight skip like normal here. I'm not going to go over the specifics of this, except ice for the part where I suck at it. Yeah, again, there are guides for this in like the 1.0 guide. Here's another thing as well. BoKid, I can't mash nearly as fast. I can't mash through text with BoKid's controller as fast as you can mash with HackKit's controller. You should always be mashing text with HackKit's controller when it's available. When it's global text like that, when it's like a full-on cutscene.
Supercharge!
So yeah, this fight is basically the same. I did enable Bokid just so that she doesn't die, because like I said earlier, we do need her to actually do the fight skip here.
Supercharge!
And there are these little sparks that appear above his head, so you can't easily bounce on him. I'm not going to do it right now because I'm trying to do commentary as well. But you can still speed up the fight by bouncing on his head. There's that bit. And yeah, you can do this fight with keyboard as well, because, like, I don't know, you can do it with either. But, again, you'll need to re-enable Bokid at the end of this. So here's what I'm going to do. So, at the very far right side of the stage, there's one thick line, because you see these thick lines at the bottom of the stage, like on the front side of it. These thick, wide lines, so like right above the quit menu here. Like that one. There's the one all the way far right, all the way on the far right of the screen. What you want to do is you want to spawn Bokid on that line, and have her face to the right of the stage, so like face into the right side. And then Bokid, or HackKit, will stand all the way in the corner, and Bokid's controller will charge a brewer. So I'm going to show you that right now. So I spawn her on top of the line, I switch hats, I charge a brewer. And that does the fight skip. So that's the main difference there, is that you can't actually do it solo anymore, but you can do it with the two characters, because the Mafia boss still has collision with Bokid because he knocked HackKit back. He doesn't have collision with the character he knocked back temporarily. Yeah, and then you disable and just pick up the thing. So every time that you enable and disable co-op, it adds about 1.5 to 2 seconds, depending on how fast your menuing is. You can get it down to like 1 second for a full enable disable, but it's a little rough. That's that for this. And then another thing to note, this is something that has been known for a while, but I didn't realize how drastic it was. I disabled Bokid, despite the fact that I'm going to need her in Golden Vault right next. Okay? I disabled Bokid before entering Spaceship because you lose time to the in-game timer if Bokid is enabled when you load a level. The in-game timer starts earlier in the loading screen if co-op is on. It is a known bug. It's been reported to the devs. There's nothing they're going to do to change it because we're running the game on an old version. So yeah, I'm going to do Golden Vault here. And at the very start, basically this is another common trick with Bokid, is we're just going to use her to save a lot of backtracking. So at the start, enable co-op, and we're going to do the level with Bokid, which can be a little bit annoying. Oh shoot. For reasons like that, I'm just going to restart the level. Yeah, so this can be a little bit annoying getting used to the split screen, but like, it's pretty much worth it. Oh, and you know what? I actually need this because Mafia Cooks is in this route. So this is like normal 1.0 movement. Grab this yarn, do the dupe. And here I'm going to disable co-op with Bokid's controller so I don't have to do a controller swap, because as soon as I disable co-op, I get control of HackKit. And that just saves a bunch of backtracking. You can get as low as like a 28 with this route, with this strat. It's pretty insane. And here, you can do the rest of Mafia Town early if you want. Like, you can do Sewers Rift right now. Again, you shouldn't have enough pawns to do heating up yet. I did do a restart level once or twice. But I'm going to just go straight to birds, and we're just going to take care of the rest of it. And we're only going to do 2 levels in Birds. We're going to do Deadbird Studio, so the intro, and we're going to do Picture Perfect. We do skip Train Rush, we skip Murder, we skip Parade. We don't do anything else in Battle of the Birds in this route, just because Alpine is actually fast for a change at any %, which is really nice. In this level, pretty linear, unfortunately, so we can't really use Bokit for any of this. Even in co-op, Bokit isn't really useful, like in 2-player co-op. Oh, you know what? I think I actually needed that yarn. Pretend I got this yarn on the way up here. Pretend I got that yarn. I'm so bad. Holy moly. I'm gonna do one of these just to show. I mean, this route is known. This is just me messing around and ranting about Bokid, just to anyone who will listen, honestly. So yeah, you grab that yarn. So yeah, I'll get to why we're skipping... TLDR, I'll get to why we're skipping most of Birds in a bit, but TLDR, they're slow compared to Alpine on this patch, which I never thought I'd see the day. If you really want to think about it, like 1.0 is already a 1P2C category. Because people use both control methods throughout the run. This is just like, it can be 1P3C, technically. If you're using 2 controllers as I am. So here, what we're going to do, I'm going to enable Bokid, and this is basically a telescope cutscene skip save. So what happens is that you can actually interact with the telescopes when a character is entering the ship time rifts, and that basically it sets the flag for all of the telescope cutscenes to say that they've already been played. So when I re-enter for Picture Perfect, all of those cutscenes will have played technically, and so I can enter Picture Perfect immediately. And yeah, just disable Bokid anytime before the end of this level. I like to do it near the end, but you can choose your favorite strats here. Yeah, that'll be used again in Alpine, actually. We'll be doing that twice throughout the run, because it's fast to skip the telescope cutscenes before doing Twilight Bell and Birdhouse. So yeah, as I enter the telescope here, you'll notice that Picture Perfect and Murder are unlocked, and I can immediately pick a level. So, just do that. And Bokid is also used here, actually, so I'll enable her. And this is basically, this is the strat, is that while you're talking to the DJ, you can actually get these things done. I'm doing this a little bit poorly. Hang on. Let me retry this. So I'm not talking. Basically, while you're in these DJ cutscenes, you can move Hat Kid a little bit when she's on the keyboard and mouse. So I'm mashing text with my right hand, and I'm moving Hat Kid with my left hand. And this is like the old route This is technically the same speed as like Sewer Potion, if you're good at it on this patch, but I am not. But yeah, if it's the same speed and this is like a lot easier, IMO. So yeah, you can get Bo Kid to do like most of the level, and then you get Hat Kid to just do those two. And again, disable before you grab the timepiece so that you don't lose time when loading the spaceship. And that's birds, which is insane. But yeah, we don't need birds at all. Here we would go to. We don't have enough timepieces to go to Alpine, and we need the hookshot to go to Alpine. So we're gonna go to Subcon, and we need Roomba Yarn in this route, so we're gonna grab it. You can talk to Cook and Cat later. You don't have to talk to her here. I talked to her after Subcon before Alpine. And this is the big spot where Bo Kid is used, honestly. It saves basically all these firewalls that are normally blocking your way, like the door and down with the Mafia. We can actually skip these by spawning Bo Kid next to them. So all I'm doing is I'm touching the wall, I like jump into it so that I align myself with it, and then I look this way and I run parallel to it for a second, and you can spawn Bo Kid behind the wall. And what this allows us to do, this is a much faster setup, basically to skip. It's bag skip. It's bag skip for free, basically. You don't have to climb the tree. So it's just this time of setting up Bo Kid clip, which is really nice. And I missed an SDJ. Nice. And for this spot, you usually drop frames, and this zip is frame rate dependent, so I just zoom in Bo Kid's camera to actually get the zip. Because if you have the camera zoomed out, I'm getting like 45, 50 frames here, and you don't really get enough height. Yeah, I'm dropping a couple of frames. This isn't the recording dropping frames. This is the game dropping frames. So you can still get enough height. But it's just better. It's better insurance. And it also kind of depends on where Hat Kid is looking. So if Hat Kid is looking like this way, then your frames drop even more massively. So yeah, it's better to just zoom in Bo Kid's camera and save the lag. Now this inside the well is where it gets really interesting. So, like I said earlier, if there is no spot to spawn Bo Kid, like, if there's a thin wall, you can spawn Bo Kid behind the thin wall, right? There, it didn't work. But, again, if there's no spot... Wait, is that a thing? Holy moly, that's actually a free setup. I just discovered that. So, yeah, you can stand up next to this gate. I usually set up in this corner, but I guess this would actually be faster now. What's happening is that the game is trying to stop us from just clipping Bo Kid through the wall, so it spawns us at the last checkpoint, but of course the last checkpoint is in the previous room, so it doesn't actually do anything. So it detects that there's no good place to put Bo Kid, so it puts her at the last checkpoint. And so we use this to our advantage, so we don't have to press the button in this room to actually take the gate back down. It's pretty nice. So basically, I'm just going to grab this yarn, and then I'm going to immediately switch to Bo Kid. I'm just going to pick up her controller and be done with it. I did grab the hook shot, but Bo Kid does not have it equipped, so you have to turn it on. And then you can just do the rest of this level. And there is a strat that's useful in 2P co-op. I'm not sure. I haven't personally labbed it. I'll just show it off what it is really quick with Hat Kid. So you'll notice I'm standing like in the. If you look at Bo Kid right now, she's flipping as though she's getting bounced up, and that's because she technically is. So as long as one character is in this bouncy hitbox on the pipe, both characters get bounced. It's possible that it's faster to do this with with just one P2C, but it's a little bit awkward to do because, again, you have to be using both characters. But I'm sure that a setup exists. Probably. I haven't actually done it. This will just be normal. Most of the rest of Subcon is actually the same. There's one spot in mail delivery and Village Rift are going to be a little bit different, and the way that you get the contract for the toilet is a little bit different. So yeah, I'll just kind of play through these and do some color commentary. But yeah, this is the reason why doing well first is actually useful, because we were able to take down the blue firewall. And if I do show volumes, you can actually see, I can actually run up right next to it. This is the, see these two thin green lines, where do they end? Can I actually see it? Am I blind? I don't see where they are on this side. Oh, there they are. They're inside of this tree. So these two thin green lines. Yeah, that one right there on that goes inside this tree. This is the bag skip volume that if you run into that, that's when you get bags. So you can just walk around it basically, instead of going over it like you would in 1.0. That's why this works. And again, you don't have to climb the tree like for the typical 1.0 bag skip setup. So that makes this fast, especially compared to Bonnie Patch, which has no bag skip whatsoever. So yeah, that saves like 15, 20 some seconds. Let me turn this back off.
Come with me. What?
And this is all just typical stuff. Cherry Death Warp on this with the setup, because we're not doing bag skip, it's actually like only barely faster, maybe only like 1 second faster to actually do the Cherry Death Warp, and it adds a lot of risk because it's harder than it is on 1.0. And the reason it's slower is because we don't take fall damage from doing bag skip. So there's no, like, it takes so long to take the extra damage along the way that it's not even worth it, really, to do Cherry Death Warp. Again, someone might be a genius. If you want to look for something to make it a 3-second skip instead of a 1-second skip, then be my guest. But basically you would have to like stand in the fire or like take damage off the cherry. You'd have to take a lot of damage along the way. And Cherry Death Warp is harder, because you have to take damage before you grab the timepiece on this patch. Now we have to do Queen Vanessa's Manor, even though we have the, well, we can't do Toilet before Manor like we would in 1.0, and there's a good reason for that, and it's pretty obvious once I pull it up. I'm going into Subcon Well to do this, because I can slide down the main path and the bag skip volume is inactive on this load iteration. So yeah, the reason, if you'll notice, there's no trap here at all, and that's something to do with the DLC, something to do with, they have the there's like the little pop-ups when you open the Subcon telescope that's like, Snatcher says something that is like, oh, you don't have any contracts? Just look for one of my traps. Fresh out of contracts? Just look for one of my traps. And, but the traps don't actually exist until Manor is beaten, if you have done bag skip. If you do bag skip, the traps, or if you do the bag cutscene, excuse me, the traps exist. Otherwise, if you don't do the bag skip cutscene, this is like the only way to re-enable them is to complete You have to complete CO, you have to complete Well, and you have to complete Queen Vanessa's Manor. This is the only way to actually re-enable them. So this route does lose 3 seconds again, compared to like the 1.0, because you can enter the manor from the toilet loading zone, which puts you closer to the bridge. And I'm doing ATP movement because that's what I've been running recently. That's fine. So here we've done Well, we've done Manor, and now both the time rifts are available. You want to do one of the regular missions last, just like 1.0, you want to do either Mail or Toilet last to save telescope cutscenes. So I'm going to do Pipe here, and this is all just normal. Yeah, just thinking out loud here, there's another good reason to do heating up late, and it's just like how the new 1.0 route with Gallery early, you get to do heating up late, and you have hookshot. This route also has hookshot when you get to heating up, so it's still really nice. Of course, when I stop the commentary, I actually get the level done correctly. LMAO. I'll accept that bit. It's fine. So yeah, this is another spot, basically because we still need to sign the contract so that we can do Village Rift next, or that we can do Toilet, excuse me, and we're going to sign it in Village. It's possible to sign it in Mail, but it's a little bit awkward. What we're going to do, there's a contract on the way to Village Rift. And we're going to see you. There's a contract on the way to Village Rift. And if I remember right, there is a yarn here as well. So I am switching to keyboard mouse because I will need to enable bokeh in a sec. And that's important. So I'm getting this yarn. You can die boost off and sometimes get a boost on that mushroom. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of stack the Village Rift movement, like the movement all the way up to the Time Rift Orb, with this contract. So what you want to do is you want to stand uphill from the trap, otherwise Hat Kid will get stuck when you start this cutscene. So yeah, you do that. And you can kind of mash with your right hand while doing this movement. And that's it. So you've got the contract signed, and you got to move to Village basically for free. So that's that. And I'm doing the level of bokeh just because she's on controller. And Hat Kid is on keyboard right now. This is just personal preference, it does lose a little of time. If I was more diligent, I would be doing this level with keyboard, or I would have disabled bokeh at the very start of the level. But yeah, you get the 13-second 13-second toilet contract goes down to like 5 seconds cost to actually sign that contract. So it's like an 8 to 10 second time save, something like that. Oh, of course, doesn't want to do that. Here we're gonna do mail, which we need keyboard and mouse for. Again, this is a spot we're gonna use BoKid to backtrack for us for free. So for the most part, we're doing a regular clockwise mail delivery route. But at the very start here, after grabbing the badge, I spawn BoKid so she can grab the timepiece for us. And I missed something. I missed the swamp guy. That's fine. Hit this guy. That would be the last guy if I hit the swamp guy, but I'm blind. I'm dumb. And as soon as you shoot the last one, pick up the controller, jump dive, and you'll be inside of it. Unfortunately, you can't use the contract to buffer. You can't pause buffer the contract and back to hub there because it is HackKit's pause menu, but BoKid grabbed the timepiece. So, like, the player who grabs the timepiece, their pause menu doesn't work. The player who doesn't grab the timepiece, their pause menu can open, but still doesn't work, which is really dumb. And you can't do the pause menu buffer with with BoKid's pause menu, basically. Toilet de Doom. This is unfortunately, this is slow toilet, quick kill. I'm probably going to fail it because I'm a little bit out of practice with it. But this is something, again, guides exist for this already. I'm not the best person to explain it because even I do not have a good grasp on it. But this is still faster than doing Murder on the Owl Express, even if you miss the toilet quick kill. Because Murder is a 2.5 minute level, and this is a 2 minute level. Even if you miss the quick kill. And that's pretty much the only other level that's in contention to be added to the route in its place. You could do Murder if you want. You can't do Snatcher if you want because you would need to do Toilet anyways to gain access to Snatcher. So this is basically the best. This is the best level to put in, even though it's slow. Okay, cool. And now I'm gonna try and not miss the skip. And I missed it. Nice. Big meme. This is all self-explanatory, really. Where's the cheese, dude? I still have no idea how to track where the thing is. You can pause buffer that if you're good, but I am spacing out a little bit. It's okay. So yeah, that's it for Subcon. Now we're gonna go grab the whatchamacallit, the thingamabobber, the cat with the Mimi soft lock. So you have to disable this setting, auto skip skippable cutscenes, when you talk to Cooking Cat, because right here, this text box doesn't pop up unless you have this on, and if this text box does not pop up, then the game soft locks right there. And then right after, just re-enable it just so you don't forget. And then I build the burger here. But we're gonna go do Alpine now. And again, if you missed Roomba Yarn on the way to Subcon, then you grab Roomba Yarn here. And yeah. So Alpine, in any percent with Bouquet, is going to look a lot. It's basically just solo strats, so you can look at ATP guides, or look at like IL leaderboards to actually learn how to do these levels, because there's not really much in the way of difference. We're only going to be doing 4 levels here. We're going to be doing Lava Cake, we'll be doing Twilight Bell, and then we'll be doing Twilight Bell Rift and Birdhouse. And the reason this is fast is because of Birdhouse Bug, which is on these first couple of DLC patches. The book in the Alpine telescope that points to Lava Cake actually spawns you with Birdhouse for no good reason other than it does. And that basically turns Birdhouse from like a 2.5 minute level into a half-minute level. And we do not have enough for a Dweller Mask yet. I hope I didn't miss any yarn here. I think I should be fine, right? Oh yeah. Yeah, I get the freebie here. I didn't forget any yarn. Just for sanity. But yeah, there's this last yarn is going to be in the Alpine Skyline hub, right at the very start here, and we can craft the Dweller Mask on the hookshot to Lava Cake, on the zipline to Lava Cake. And yeah, we routed a bunch of yarn in early. Basically, we went out of our way for a couple yarn. Mainly so that we would have it to do the telescope cutscene skips here, like after these first couple levels. And so here we can craft Dweller. And again, we're looking for we actually already have enough pawns because we only need 100 for heating up, and we only need another 50 for CTR, and we already crafted the whatchamacallit. We already crafted the Burger Relic. So we're already good on pawns. This route is super lenient in that respect, which is really nice, especially for beginners. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, we got all these yarns early, mainly so that we can do Lab Rift when we do it, which is in a couple levels, and so that Twilight Bell Rift isn't actually insanely annoying. Because there's a Dweller wall inside of that level that you would otherwise need the Dweller Mask for, but you can do some like really janky SDJ all the way around it. It just sucks. It sucks without Dweller Mask, so it's easier to get it. And you have to do Twilight Bell, and that level is... Oh, did I miss this? I'm dumb. Do the hookshot menu there, kids. I'm retarded. Don't worry. Professional speed gamer. I like to zoom in the camera here because the game kind of lags sometimes, and this SDJ can sometimes mess up. Oh, there's that too. That's actually really bad. I'm just going to do the rest of the level normally. Which I don't know how to do, because I haven't done this level. Yeah, I don't have enough, I didn't have enough health to do that. Again, I'm not the the source for all of the good movement on individual levels. I'm the source of BoKid tech, and I'm explaining BoKid tech as I do this route. I'm returning to hub just because I watched the cutscene. And I'm a dingus. I'm a big dingus, and this is one take. Alright. So there's that. So if you had normally watched the cutscene, or if you had normally skipped the cutscene instead of watching it, then you would spawn right back in the hub. And we would go straight to Twilight Bell. Like this. Some sneaky lag right there as the birdhouse loads in the background. It can sometimes screw you. I don't know if that's my machine specific or something. Let me actually do the hookshot menu here, that'll be great. Skip the 11-second cutscenes. So yeah, just unequip and re-equip hookshot. And do this. Do T-Bell. Do some Taco Bell, dude. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I do not want to do those strats in a run. Recently learned, or labbed some IL strats. There's some crazy, like, BoKid bounce that you can do in this level. Where you bounce Hat Kid on top of BoKid's head by spawning her while you're wall climbing. Some janky shit. And I messed up, because I'm terrible at the video game. Don't worry about it. Holy moly. There we go. That's correct. And this is why it's nice to have Dweller, is just you can do that without having to... That's one reason why it's nice to have Dweller. And so here, we back to Hub, and what we're going to do, we're going to go do the lab. And again, just like we did in Birds when we went to Gallery, we're going to do this. Or we interact. You have to just be standing within range of the telescope to interact with it, and that skips all the cutscenes. This level is a little bit laggy with BoKid enabled, but you can power through it. Little known fact: lag makes SDJs easier. And so here, basically the next two levels we're going to need to select from the telescope regardless. So that's why we backed out after Twilight Bell. So we're going to choose Twilight Bell on the menu. That will take us to Twilight Bell Rift in like 3 seconds. Oh no, dude. I'm terrible. I have no idea what kind of cycle I'm on now. And this is the other reason we want Dweller so early. And I'm bad. And this last level is the reason Alpine is fast, which is really nice. Notice I picked Lava Cake, and see where I spawn. It'll lag for a sec, and then we're at Birdhouse. Notably, this is the only level affected by this bug. So, like, picking Birdhouse on the menu still takes you to Birdhouse. It's just a big ol' meme. Momentum SDJ there. You basically want a running start before you run on the fence. It's similar to bag skip, but easier because you have a lot more leeway and you can wall climb pretty freely if you don't get quite enough speed. But you can't make it with a normal SDJ. And we're done in Alpine. So now we go to last of Mafia Town. And we'll do Sewers Rift first, just because it's my preference. Yeah, these last 5 levels you can do in whatever order you want. If you want to do heating up when you get back, if you want to do sewers when you get back, if you want to do Mafia Cook's Rift, it's whatever. And I wasn't paying attention when I loaded in, so no. I'll stand for that. But yeah, there's a lot to like about this patch. There's a lot to like about this run. If you want to, if you prefer a more optimized, stable version of the game, I think 1.0 it has some bugs on it that are just that have been fixed on this version. What next? Yeah, we can do. Why not? Do Mafia Cooks. I think really the only thing I don't like is hold back to dive cancel, and that's the same as modding patch. But this patch route with Bowkid, it gives you a free bag skip. It gives you fast telescopes. It gives you Alpine at any percent. I honestly think it's really beginner friendly, even though it seems kind of daunting having to like control 2 characters and stuff like that. I think it's actually an easier introduction to the game than like modding patch even. But at the same time, it is a very different game than modding patch is. So keep that in mind. It's a very different game from 1.0. It's a very different game from modding patch. But it's also super fun. And super rewarding. Yeah, there isn't really much in these levels either, just because the pawn routing is so linear. There isn't much for Bokid. And you do have to hit this 4 times. You can't use Brewer on it. Ah, I bounced on my head. You get the one painting in that level, so you can actually back to hub. That's known. Trying to think. Okay, now let's do a heating up, because this level actually is a little bit different. This level's super sick though. So basically, this with Bokid, you can actually skip all the death warps, and there's 2 stuck warps that you can do, or I mean, there's like a beginner, and then there's like an intermediate and an advanced. So I'm gonna enable Bokid, and so you can stuck warp off this chest, like just keep going, land on that. Land on that to keep your safe position back on the main platform. And then as soon as you hit it the second time, you pick up Bokid and you do the next route. Oh shoot. And let me try this again, because I actually messed up. I'm really dumb. Let me explain this properly. Actually, I didn't even set up the stuck warp like I was supposed to. One take, kids. One take. So as soon as you're done setting up the stuck warp, I mean, you run with Bokid to the next route. And this is the other route, and I messed it up. I'm crap, dude. Again, I'm not the best. This is just me kind of explaining the route, not actually doing it successfully. Okay, hit this twice, and then as soon as that's done, you can come do this stuck warp. And this one is super free. You can just SDJ down here, do your 2 hits, and get your stuck warp like that. Disable Bokid. Be done. Now there is a backup strat, and I will show that as well. Just to show that this is a thing. So basically, Bokid can be wherever she wants. So say she's like done with her route, she's all the way down like at that lighthouse thing, and say that Hat Kid dies trying to do the stuck warps, and Hat Kid easily has the more difficult route, right? So what you can do is you can sack Bokid. So you just disable co-op here, and Hat Kid spawns at the main platform. Wherever you are in the level, wherever you died, wherever that happened. So that's a backup strat that makes this level, at least, if not fast, at least easy. But you save having to do any of the death warps. You get to do both stuck warps like you would do in modding patch. So it's really nice. It does involve switching controllers, but it's a little bit annoying. I'll do Bizarre and CTR. And CTR is like the last good use of Bokid strats. Yeah, I'm just thinking about this. I'll have links to like the regular any percent and modding patch guides, and 1.0. And obviously, I would watch top runners, look at what they do, look at the routes that they do in each individual level. You don't really have a good guide. I mean, I don't really have the time to make a good guide specifically for Bokeh at any percent, but like this is kind of it. Like I'm showing off at least the tech that is used for each one. So here I'm going to use keyboard and mouse just because it's faster for menuing. Because what we do here, we actually enable Bokeh at the start and then take the cannon. And what this does basically is normally when you start the race, it tries to teleport both players to the very start. But because HatKid is in the cannon, she doesn't get teleported. So this makes for a very free CTR and also 5 seconds faster. You can get like a 25 or 24 with this strat. It's insanely fast.
Here we go. All right.
Oh, did I not disable co-op? I'm a big dingus. Yeah, I forgot to disable co-op. Big meme. So yeah, that's basically it for Bokeh any percent. Like, we have to do finale still. So if you're coming from 1.0, this is like a similar step that you would take if you wanted to learn modding patch, for example. Need to learn that triple jump and need to learn the actual finale level. But yeah, I'll finish up this this level here.
Beat it, kid.
Yeah, if you have any questions about the route, if you have any questions about like specific tech or specific movement, or if you're interested in me doing like an ATP version of this, because I do run the ATP Bokeh category as well, the 46 timepieces, then by all means let me know in the comments or on Discord, because honestly, from what any percent Bokeh started as when you're like doing like most of birds, there actually is a lot of tech that uses Bokeh inside Battle of the Birds, which is really cool. But because Alpine is now fast, we skip most of that now, because there's some really cool stuff in Murder, there's some really cool stuff in both of the time rifts in Battle of the Birds. So I might eventually do a ATP version of this.
We criminals can feel relief if not committed.
Yeah, definitely join. I mean, you're probably coming to this from Boop Troop, but join the Boop Troop Discord if you haven't already. The few people who have run this category are me, Hardcore Cheese, Doka, Sewers also run this. Epic Yoshi Master's done a bit of work on the category as well. But me and Hardcore Cheese are maybe the two that know the most, and I guess also Doka. Those are the three people I would talk to start with. As far as like learning this category specifically, and then just like general movement tips and stuff, you can go to anyone on the Discord really. Oh, and at the end of this, I'm gonna actually show off something that's really cool and needs investigation. That could actually push this category further if someone wants to actually look into this. There is a potential dwellerless route that exists if we can find a way into the labyrinth without the dweller at. Bowkid isn't really useful in the finale fight, unfortunately. It's too rough to like not die. Like one or both characters will die if you're trying to control both. And also Mustache Girl can do some weird stuff, like target the wrong character or target a character that you don't expect. Dang it, that was so promising.
Get lost!
So yeah, hopefully this was pretty informative. I mean, most of the levels are similar to how you would do them 1.0, just a little bit like plus, you know? Just some nice quality of life stuff, like being able to skip the key in Down with the Mafia, being able to do bag skip without having to grind for 10 hours on how to actually do that skip. And then you get to do Alpine at 90% as well. Lava Cake is really fun, dude. So yeah, potential improvements to the route. Yeah, if a new toilet quick kill is found, again, we haven't really labbed much with utilizing Bowkid to do some kind of skip. Or something like that. Like, I don't think that work has been done yet. Adding Snatcher to the route, it's like 1:50, right, for that level? So there's not really any levels shorter than that anymore in the route that that aren't required. Lava Cake is a long level, but it gives you access to Twilight Bell and Birdhouse, which are both like 30-second levels. Or Twilight Bell Rift, I mean. Then Heating Up Mafia Town is 1:40 still. And gives you access to CTR, which is 30-second level. Mafia of Cooks is 1:20-ish, something like that. So there's not really room to put Snatcher back in. There's definitely not room to put Murder back in. But like Murder and Train Rift are like 3:30 together, so they're like a 1:45 a piece when you do the average. which is like just as good as like it's still worse than Toilet. Toilet's a minute 30 if you actually get the skip. And you would need to replace a longer level. So then you'd have to start considering taking out all of Alpine because those are the next longest levels. Another option here is to do Parade Route. You would skip all of Alpine and you would do all of the Battle of the Birds levels instead. That's also an option. That route is only like 5 to 10 seconds slower than this one. So if you're uncomfortable with Alpine, you can always learn the rest of Battle of the Birds. And that does have a lot of cool bow kit strats in it as well. So, like I said, Murder has a cool bow kit strat. Maybe I'll run through those. Maybe I'll do that. I'll show off like the alternate route. So instead of doing Alpine, you would do this. I can show that. At least point it out. So I can show off these levels too. So for this level, I'm really only showing these just because they're specific bow kit stuff, and I already messed up. So what you want to do for this level is, as soon as you walk into the door, you want to spawn bow kit. That'll spawn her outside. And just like for cheating the race, how Hat Kid was in the cannon, and that prevented her from being teleported, if Bow Kid is walking through a door, then that prevents her from being teleported. So this is basically a backtrack save. And you get that yarn here if you do this level. So you walk Bow Kid through the wall there, and then you can walk forward and be inside of this trigger volume basically as soon as Hat Kid is done with the telephone, which is really nice. That's step number 1. And then step number 2 is that the when you enter the last room of Murder, which I'll show in a sec, when you enter this next room, Hat Kid normally gets teleported back to the start of the level because of the sequence breaks and stuff, but Bow Kid doesn't. So you get free door skip, and you can also stack the cutscenes afterwards. So Bow Kid grabs the key, and then what we do, we pick up Hat Kid and actually get on top. That'd be great. And walk through the door and do that cutscene at the same time, because Bow Kid's movement is not restricted there. And so the elevator's already moving. That's that. Of course my IL timers are not running because I forgot to back up to main menu. But this can turn Murder into like a 2-minute and 20-second level. And I'm mashing with the wrong thing. That's what I was saying earlier, is how mashing with Bow Kid's controller on this kind of stuff is actually slow. So you have to mash with Hat Kid's controller. So that's that text specific. So how many levels would this be? This is Murder. This route does need pawns. This is the one difference, that this route needs a lot of pawns. So basically, you do Murder there. Train Rush is identical. This is Train Rift. So I will show off Train Rift. You know what, let me do this. Let me Let me go on my practice file and I can show off the last couple things I want to show off here. Oh, cool, I'm already here. So yeah, that's Murder. Train Rush is identical to others in 1.0. It's a very linear level. Big Parade. There might be some, like, again, if you're a god and you can actually manipulate both characters at the same time, you can station one character by one of the dials, and, like, each character by one of the dials, and just have them not die. It's because they both get a parade, they both get the owls following them. And that would save time, because you don't have ice out in this route to do the stuck warp, so it's, like, really rough. But yeah, so Murder would be in the route, then you would do Train Rush, Train Rift, and so let's do the Owl Express Rift. And this level's really sick with Boat Kit as well. So this is a tech called a... I'm sorry. I'm too bad to actually show off. What I want to show off. Holy moly, I'm bad. There we go. So this is kind of a hard strat, and it saves like 3 seconds total if you can do it properly. But this is a tech called a Boat Kit Dive. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm coming out of my dive cancel. I'm not quite all the way vertical yet. And I'm going to spawn Boat Kit and immediately dive. So I've already picked up, you can kind of see, I've already picked up my Boat Kit controller and I'm holding I've set my Hat Kit controller on my lap. I'm going to press B with my left hand. I'm going to press my dive button with my left hand, and then I'm going to press my dive button with my right hand. So, or I'm going to select co-op and then dive. And you have to grab one of those gear cogs like that. And this lets you hit like a really early cycle of these gears. I messed it up a little bit, so I'm on kind of a slow cycle, but you can get this level done in 56 seconds, which after the menuing, and that's like after all the extra menuing and everything. So that saves like 4 seconds, but then you lose a second when you reload to the spaceship, so it's like a 3-second skip. It's kind of rough, but it's really cool to learn, and for ILs it's definitely faster. For ILs it's like 4.5 seconds fast. So that's that one, and then I'll show off Moonrift as well, because Moonrift is really neat, and I'm in the wrong level! So Moonrift also has a Boat Kit dive, and this will replace the normal STJ skip that you would do in 1.0 or in modding patch, or just in solo in general. There's 2 versions of it. There's like the easy version, which I'll show right here. So you can just dive like that, and Hat Kid dies, but it's fine. You just do the rest of the level normally. And I'm bad. If you're used to doing this level on 1.0, you cannot climb that fence, so you have to do this DSJ, and I'm messing it up. There we go. So there's that version of it. Or there's this version of it, which I'm gonna reset a lot. Which you need a lot of height for, but you can do that. You can do that right out of the spawn gates. So that's super fast. This is like a 6-second skip. if you're not terrible like I am. But it's pretty fun to do ILs with this, and I just dropped my controller. And yeah, if you hit B at the wrong time, then you do fall. So this one is a lot riskier because you don't have enough height. And it involves like timing your movements with like immediately out of a load screen. So it can be janky. This is more of an IL strat than it is an actual strat, but it's fun to show off. I did it once though, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, this one, when you do your momentum SDJ, you need more height than you do distance. So you can do your like jump, double jump, dive, cancel, dive, cancel, like pretty close together, just because you need the height over the distance. So that's that, and then the last thing I want to show off is that there is a new ladder clip, and there is a theoretical skip that would save grabbing all of the yarn throughout all the run. Because there is a way through the Dweller wall in Finale when using Vokid. But currently there is no way into the lab. So here's what I'm going to show you guys. Is that spawn Vokid right there, like here, and then just do one of these, and Hackid's out of bounds. So that I'm just standing Vokid. If you see where Vokid stands, and then you walk into the ladder from behind her, Hackid ends up out of bounds. And of course, you can get Vokid out of bounds by just enable disable. And so here's the issue: so we want in the lab. This is the unknown. This is the open problem. To all of you, in there is the lab. You saw how I got here. This is out of bounds. This is like really janky. But if you can find a way to spawn Vokid inside, right there, then we can skip the Dweller Mask. So that's my open problem. Issue being that spawning Vokid out of bounds like that is kind of rough. So there's a couple things that we've tried. Is that this door right here can be enabled kind of from out of bounds. You can stand all the way inside the door. But enabling Vokid here doesn't really do anything. Doesn't spawn her out of bounds. Or doesn't spawn her inside. If you walk off slowly, like this, you can end up all the way inside the door. But that spawns her at a checkpoint like it was in Subcon Well, because there's no place next to Hatkit to spawn her. And you can get pretty much anywhere you want on here. You can go all the way around, you can even stand like in the window frame here. Like, you can stand right here. And you can get back on top from here as well. But I need, like, someone has to lab this. I've tried also in this corner. This spawns her at a checkpoint. Stuff like this. So this is an open problem. If someone wants to work on this and get us to that time rift orb right there. It's so close. I can taste it, dude. I can freaking taste it. It's right there. It's right there. Can't spawn her in. If I do this, she'll fall, I think. I don't know. She spawns inside. So, yeah. If someone wants to work on that, be my guest. Your name will go down in some kind of history. But yeah, this has been kind of my rundown of Vokid tech and the route that is currently used in Vokid any percent. There's a lot of room left for optimization. In general, this route should be about 30 to 40 seconds faster than 1.0 solo. So if you're looking for a faster category to run, if you're looking for something different to run if you're just kind of burnt out on 1.0. Definitely looking for more runners for this. Definitely looking for more competition. I think the current best time as of recording is a 46, 45, something like that. Don't actually remember off the top of my head. But yeah, the record right now is still in 1.0 is a 43. So there's a lot of room for improvement with this category. And yeah, I hope this has been informative. And let me know if you have any questions. Peace.